before they begin to spar. Really bad habits, especially mechanics. Others are very aggressive. That's very hard to do as a coach. I will tell you some of the bad experiences that I've had. Head trauma. And this is very serious, guys. Beat the crap out of each other sessions when they're at the gym. That will haunt you the rest of your life. If you decide to become a fighter, yeah, over and over and over again. So I got my first fight at the casino. Concussions week after week, using or abusing chemicals. Man, you can't even throw a jab in a. If you decide to be a fighter, it keeps building in your brain. That's stupid and dumb, and you need to rethink. Because we put headgear on, now we can go at it harder. Okay, guys, don't forget to subscribe, to share the video with people that you think might benefit from the information. Make sure and like and comment. Any questions that you may have, feel free to ask, and I'll do my best to answer them. This is a big issue. The issue of sparring, especially beginners, because it's very important for beginners to be guided properly, not only with the fundamental basics, but once they start sparring, because in many cases, what I've seen, a mistake is that people start sparring too soon. You have somebody that doesn't know Muay Thai, or doesn't know kickboxing or boxing, and the first week they're already in class sparring with people. In my opinion and in my experience, being trained for over 30 years and training different people, different countries, I am one, for me, that a student should have solid fundamentals on all the basics of each of the, at least the basic strikes and strategy and distancing before they begin to spar. Because if they spar too early before that, a lot of bad habits, really bad habits, especially mechanics, that they should have already known before they start throwing punches at each other's faces, should have been there. So if you start training a person that does not have that fundamental basic structure, you're dealing with someone that you're going to have to fix all kinds of mistakes, not only along the way, but later. Because we all have, your students have different personalities or different modalities or mentalities. Some people are more, a little more reserved, and they're more defensive in nature. Others are very aggressive. And you have to deal also with their psychological modality and how that fits their structure as a fighter. You also want to play to their strengths and weaknesses. You want to make their strengths very strong, and you want to bring up their weaknesses to a point where they're very comfortable and able and capable of dealing with those weaknesses. That's very hard to do as a coach if these students begin to spar too early. So that's one thing that coaches need to be very aware of, because this is serious. I will tell you some of the bad experiences that I've had during these training years. Another thing that's very important is head trauma. And this is very serious, guys. You have not only people that are sparring too soon, but they're sparring the wrong way. In Thailand, when you go to the top gyms where the top champions are, when they spar, remember they're prize fighters, and they need to be as healthy as they can when they fight in the ring. They cannot be injured. They cannot be having serious, neurological problems, because this is how they eat. This is how they send money back to their families. This is a business. That is their job. So they cannot afford to be, having rock'em sock'em beat the crap out of each other's sessions when they're at the gym, because not only are they damaging themselves, but they're not going to be really in optimal shape to fight in the ring. And in Thailand, in Muay Thai, it's not like boxing in the United States. These fighters fight often. I mean, there's fighters that sometimes in a month they fight twice. They fight. That's why when they retire, they have like 200 plus fights, some 300, because they fight so often. So in order to be able to sustain that career, they have to then train properly. And the main thing is that when you spar, you want to be able to control your strikes. And we'll talk about third speed sparring in a bit. But right now, let's focus on concussions and possible head trauma that will haunt you the rest of your life. if you decide to become a fighter, yeah, it's cool. I mean, that's a risk that you know, and if you don't know, educate yourself to make a decision, educated decision, that you know that as a fighter, you're going to get damaged. By the time you're an old person, you're going to deal with a lot of things that most people won't because of the damage you receive in the ring. And that all depends also on what kind of style of fighter you are. If you're one of the rock and sock'em type of guys, you know, they're just beating the crap out of each other, then worse for you. And we have several examples of these people. You can look at all kind of boxers, you know, even Muhammad Ali. I mean, all these people that end up having neurological problems and Parkinson's and all this. This is not Joe Frazier. I mean, the list goes on and on.
I see some of the best fighters in the world can barely walk, stumbling around. It's sad.
Was it worth it?
I wouldn't say it was. I put my family on the map. I made my dad happy. You know,
He's in danger of going down. Let's see if Norris.
he's the reason why I'm a Hall of Famer. He's the reason why, you know, I'm history. He's the reason.
On and on and on. This is nothing new. They're punch drunk, is what they call them, right? So they start developing neurological problems. People need to understand, especially beginners that come, or even if you're not even a fighter, you go to a gym to learn Muay Thai, boxing, or kickboxing. If you're in any of these arts, if you go to a gym, especially if you're not a prize fighter, if you're not being groomed and you're not going to be fighting for money, what sense does it make for you to go to, hey, Wednesday night sparring night, and then you beat the crap out of each other? I see this over and over and over again, with everybody going in their own macho man, beating the crap and having concussions week after week.
Sorry for interruption, but I have two good remarks, because for when you are just learning how to drive a car, you never like sit in the car and just learning it on the way. You are going through theory, training machines, and only after that, with instructor, you are driving all around the city, all the safe places.
That's right. That's right.
And the second remark, I think it's pretty the same to bodybuilding, because some people think that taking steroids, it's like a fun thing. But I saw some research. A lot of top bodybuilders were asked about their career, and it's like they sold out their health. They had problems with hormones, with testicles, with anything, and they said, "I knew it, but I got fame, money, everything."
That's right.
It's like it's deal. And
yes.
I agreed with the deal, but young guys, they make the deal for what?
Exactly. That's a great point.
Young kids join a gym, and when they join the gym, they buy the steroids. And all you're doing is destroying your body and causing damage, and you're not getting any benefits.
Some of these sports or activities, there is a price to pay. There is a price to pay, because you're going to engage in activities that are damaging to your body, whether it's using or abusing chemicals, or whether it's abusing your body during your training for nothing. Or both. Yeah, because sometimes you have both, right? So exactly, that's what I'm saying. When you're learning anything else, like you said, when you're going to learn to drive a car, they don't just put you in a car the first day and put you on the highway, right?
We know how we can.
You know what's going to happen, right? So similarly, you can't take people and put them to spar right away when they don't have a solid fundamentals. Used to be back in the day, and today, the trainers that are worth their salt, they don't let a student spar till, depending on how talented they are, between 4th and 6 months. Now people go, oh wow, especially nowadays, everything has to be quick. It's like, I want to be satisfied now, right? The people will, oh well, I'm not going to join that club because I'm not going to spar for 6 months. It's stupid, because this is a game of inches. It's a long game. These young guys enter these MMA gyms. And not all of them, okay, but it happens a lot, okay? It happens a lot, enough that this is a problem.
Had some courage.
Yeah, and they come in there, and before you know it, they're beating the crap out of each other the first or second week, and in 2 months, I got my first fight at the casino or something like that. And, I'm like, this is insane.
You had that.
That happened to me. Happened to me all the time. People will come to me and, hey, Mike, train me, and I want to get really good because I have a fight lined up, in 2 months at some casino or something. And I'm like, man, you can't even throw a jab and a straight right, you can't even throw an uppercut. I mean, your footwork, you can't even stand right. And you want me to work a miracle? You know, I'm like a miracle worker because I know this or I know that. It doesn't matter how much I know or don't know. I'm not a miracle worker like that. So, you know, there's a lot of people that come to me with that expectation. And I've been criticized in the past because I don't want to support that. Oh man, you don't want to. I'm like, no, I don't want to get into that to begin with because that's insane. I'm going to be directly responsible for putting a person that has no business in the ring at that time to possibly get hurt. That's on me. Now, some trainers don't care. They want the glory. They want to go out there. They want to have all these guys under me that are training. That's on them, you know, to each his own. That's not, I don't believe in that. But, you know, if somebody wants to do that, that's their business. You know, there's room for everybody. You know, if somebody believes in that philosophy, that's on them. I don't. And a lot of times people will have problems with that. And I try to make them think like, listen, man, this is not just now, the rest of your life. At some point, you're not going to fight till you're 90, you know, and what's going to be the quality of your life afterwards. Hi, my name is Mike Soto. I'm a martial arts coach, combatives consultant with over 40 years of researching, learning, and teaching martial arts. I want to invite you to my new video course, Fundamental Skills for Martial Arts and Fighting. The contents of this video series is based on my extensive research in Muay Thai, Western boxing, and Chinese and Filipino martial arts. In this course, you will learn some essential skills that will create a more connected and relaxed body structure that will allow you to deliver more power in your strikes. These body skills will create a more efficient way to use any offensive or defensive technique. You will also learn some essential footwork to guarantee the delivery of your techniques. These skills can be applied to enhance any martial arts practice and can greatly benefit anyone from beginners to advanced practitioners, regardless of style. Don't miss this opportunity to bring your martial arts skills to the next level. If you decide to be a fighter, okay, then make an educated decision that you are willing and you know the risks that you're going to take as a fighter, the possible risks, and then, okay, no problem, go out there, become a champion. And if I can be involved in that and it's serious and you're prepared, hey, I'll be involved with it. You know, at that point, now that's a professional approach. But too many people want too many things too fast, the same old story. And I've seen so many different, there was an incident where there was a class that they were sparring, and there was this young kid, 16 years old, that had been in the class less than 2 weeks. And he's sparring with, you know, adults, you know, people that were a little bit, you know, older than this kid. He's only 16. And, you know, the place was matted and they got matted, you know, walls and everything. But I'm watching, and then they start going all out on this kid. And they hit him so hard with a hook that it hit his face and his head ricocheted up against the wall and he fell straight down. Concussion. Then everybody panicked. They're like, oh shit. And then he, of course, he came to, you know, they revived him and everything. Oh, okay, yeah, but you know, but you're a tough guy now. You know, now you're tough and rough. This kid is not a prize fighter. This kid was not ready for sparring. The parents came and picked him up 30 minutes later. Nobody said anything. Instructors didn't say anything. The kid didn't say anything because he was ashamed. And the parents pick up the kid like, all right, hey, little Johnny, did you have a nice time? Yeah, Mom, it was great. He's leaving home with a concussion. Who knows what that can lead? And this happens more often than not. And it happens a lot in America. And I hate it. You know, not only in America, but because I'm from there, I see it all the time. But in contrast, when you get into the professional gyms here, now I'm not saying that there's never room for you to test yourself and go a little bit harder, right? Especially with people better than you. That's all good.
That's good.
Because when you have somebody that's better than you, you learn a lot, but then that person has a responsibility to then tone it down to the degree that you can take. They're not there to beat the crap out of you either. They'll test you. They'll take you to your limits, but when you're ready. This is way past basics. This is way past after you had enough experience to do this. Everything is step by step. So the important thing and the most dangerous thing is concussions to the head. These concussions will build, every successive one, it keeps building in your brain and they're not gonna go away. And if you're not getting paid to fight and you're getting concussions on Wednesday sparring night at the class that I go 2 times to 3 times a week, that's stupid and dumb, and you need to rethink if that's the place you need to be or if you need to find a better way, because that's a fool's game. You're hurting yourself for what? In the end, for what, right? So here comes the subject of headgear.
Yeah.
Right.
Remind that, keep it in mind that headgear is not a solution.
Headgear is not always a solution, because here's the misconception. Because we put headgear on, now we can go at it harder. No. And this is what happens with most people psychologically, because they don't teach these people properly. When people put headgear, or they see YouTube videos of people just whacking the shit out of each other in a sparring session, again, nobody's getting paid for that. You're not even making money, right? It's stupid, right? For what? Just because you put headgear on, it doesn't mean that now you can whack the shit out of each other silly and knock each other out because that's going to protect you. No, it doesn't. And you know those who have had headgear and have really sparred hard and gotten rocked, you know what I'm saying. They can't say no. Okay, so it does it protect you? Yeah, but not as much as you think it does. It depends on the brand. It depends on the material. It depends on the design. You know, at one point I was using what's called the face saver mask. It was the most safest mask you can wear. The price you paid was visibility was not the greatest, but it had a nose guard, and I mean, it was the best protective gear. You know, at that time it was like $100, $150 per unit. But I'd rather do that and teach slowly than to, okay, put the headgear and go at it, because it doesn't really protect you as much as you think. You still will get the same concussions with or without the headgear. In some instances, some people may argue that it's better to learn slowly without the headgear, because then you're more conscientious about, well, I got to take it easy because we're not wearing this headgear. We can't go, you know, I can't think that I got to go all out on this guy and hurt him. It makes people think. And if you have instructors that teach you properly, it's an advantage. Now, am I preaching that? Hey, listen, I think people should try different things. I've seen it work in several gyms, just like I've seen people work with headgear and work wonderfully with headgear. But once you're taught to use it and do it properly, it's not a license for you to go out and just kill somebody because they have headgear. These head concussions that you receive are cumulative, and you're going to pay the price when you're older. I guarantee it. Don't be a damn fool.
I also have interesting stories, because in Russia, where I'm from, it's like Kudo style is very popular. It's Daidojuku karate. It's like MMA style of karate. They have everything, like knees, not like Kyokushin, only legs to the head, punches, everything. And they have special gears. I mean, like regular costume and plus super safe helmet, Japanese one. It cost about $200 with the plexiglass glasses all around, and it's like super safe. And some guys just take this super safe helmet and try and baseball bat and smash it, and they said like, oh, proof, it's super safe. But when asked, and what was with you, like inside this, he said, I just pretty lost my concussions, but super safe is still super safe.
Yes.
Like, yes, but your head is not super
Your
safe.
head is not super safe. No matter what you're wearing like this, if you get hit hard enough, and some people out there can hit hard, man, you know, they're naturally strong. Man, you get rocked, you got rocked. Yeah. Whether you had inches, not in, you know, this happens to football players, man. I mean, football players, you know that this has been played forever. It's a calculated risk that you take. They know this going into it. All the injuries, not only just body injuries, but the damage to the brain. And they keep trying to design better helmets, you know, with better, you know, air and all kind of, you know, it's, buddy, when you get rocked because the way the body is just designed, and, you know, and the head is above the neck. A lot goes into it. So you really need to think about this and make it a priority as part of your training so that you don't get injured. And part of what you learn good defensive tactics so you don't get as damaged when you are a fighter. So, and also know when to quit. If you have a career as a fighter, whether it's successful or not, you got to know when to quit so that you can have then your golden years will be more fulfilling and happy without having to deal with all this disease.
And also I want to say, if you want to be a little bit more educated, just found some medical or like neurologist videos about head concussions, how it happens. It's not like something going inside your head. No, it's like your brain in the water, like we can say.
Absolutely. Educate yourself. That's a good point. Hey, Google, man, Google. You know, educate yourself. You need to know these things. Yeah, just like he said, you know, your brain is inside, you know, your head here, and it's almost suspended in water. It's like a suspended animation. And when you receive a concussion, the brain basically bashes up against, well, the walls, the skull. And that is not good. That's not meant to happen. It's not supposed to happen. And then a bruise occurs, and it can cause all kind of havoc, and you don't even know about it till later. It shows up. Even small concussions can have neurological problems that show up later, and you have no clue what's happening to you. So think about it, be careful, be educated.
Even if it's microtrauma.
Even microtrauma, it adds up, man. So you have to know about these things and be an educated fighter.